What in the name of termites happened to that thing?
Just me, or is nothing coming out? Nothing is coming out. Right. Kick over the super glue for no apparent reason. Guess I should tip it this away. And we're just going to throw it on the table like we didn't work on it really hard. Hey, we're back, regular viewers. 250 subscribers. This is just outstanding, unbelievable, so blessed. Thank you so much for all the support. I just can't believe it. You guys are just encouraging me so much to just keep doing this stuff. I'm having so much fun. My family is having fun. Thank you. So today, we're going to talk about one of my passions. Frogs. I have a passion for hating frogs. So my hatred for frogs burns like the heat of 1,000 suns. Regular guy, that's a little extreme. Yes, it is. Because these have brought me nothing but heartache. They produce big hits, lots of hits, all sorts of hits, but you miss tons of fish. People have to wait a few seconds to set the hook. I never mastered that on these. They've just caused me more heartache than anything else. And I have a wide selection of frogs I've tried. Don't worry though, regular viewers, I haven't paid for any of these. That's right. Every single one of these, fishermen have left hanging in trees like Christmas ornaments or Christmas presents, all wrapped in one. Some of my particular favorites are this guy right here, with the frogs that you've seen that have the twisty legs. Yeah, I don't know either, but, pretty snazzy. And this one right here, I just put this guy out here for nostalgia. This was a frog that I actually liked because of this hook here. It actually had a decent, with a trailer hook on it, decent hookup ratio. This was like a Bill Dance frog from the 90s. One of my neighbors gave this to me. Thank you. And I just, can't believe I have one that has the legs still on it. They would always get bit off by toothy critters, quick, fast, and in a hurry. But that's not why we're here today. I do use a lure similar to this because I do love to catch bass in heavy cover. And the lure that I use is called the Moss Boss. This lure's been around for a long time. It's a spoon. It's a plastic spoon. It's not that heavy. And they came in a couple different colors. You can still find these. If I was professional, I would have had my reasonably sized measuring device ready with me already. So as you can see, this is considered like 2 3/4 right there, nearly 3 inches. We'll call it 3 inches. The only problem with this is that it does not float, right? It works real great. It goes across the top really well. This big hook on the back has a great hookup ratio, but I have made some modifications to mine over the years to make them even better. This is one of the old skirts right there. They were beautiful, but the second they get wet, they're just headed for the scrap heap. They're going to fall apart. They get chewed up and they look terrible. Not like the new skirts right here. So some things I do is remove that and remove this, and I'll show you right here what I've turned these into. This is my Moss Boss. This is a regular old Moss Boss, just heavily modified, as you can see. I don't think I need the pointer anymore. Maybe I can just use my finger. So I have epoxied a cork onto it, like a float, a bobber, and in that I've epoxied a silicone skirt sideways in it so that it has a little bit more presence in the water. Kind of comes out like frog legs, okay? Maybe not great, but you get the point. The bass don't seem to matter. The back side here, I've painted myself. This is a technique that I use, which includes fingernail polish and sparkles. You paint the area with the fingernail polish, which again you can find in your wife's medicine cabinet or makeup bag, and then you sprinkle the sparkles on it, and kind of sprinkle them off onto a plate. And then you can do that to each section, and you can kind of get a little bit of pattern to it, right? You can see we got 2 different colors here and a third one on the end. So I add a big trailer hook to it, and then you have a much more effective lure. This will float, and this will sit there. It acts like it's going to do a walk the dog business, and the hookup ratio because of this is tremendous. And 98.9997% of the time, that's not a real number, this will not even get hung up going through the thickest stuff because it lands and it sits right up like that
And when it gets hung up, it's usually right at the beginning. But as you go along, even if you stop it in the heaviest of cover, this hook just sits on top and it rarely gets hung up in anything. But because that hook is way back there, it gets an excellent hookup ratio. Now I'm going to ask the regular editor to roll some beautiful bass footage of a friend of mine using this very Moss Boss that caught a really nice bass just a few days ago. So regular editor, roll that beautiful bass footage. Okay, so what are we going to need for this project? Well, you're going to have to go to your bucket of used bobbers that you found on the boat ramp. Unfortunately, some fishermen are pigs, and they'll just leave this stuff lying all around. I think that's the one we're going to use right there. And they leave trash behind, and I can pick it up. So this one's going to involve a lot of reducing, reusing, recycling, relaxing while we go fishing techniques here, okay? I collect this garbage, and you can see it's garbage. But I sometimes use it to make other lures. Look at this bobber. Look at it. Why do I even have that? What in the world? What in the name of termites happened to that thing? Anyway. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Thank you for putting up with this nonsense. Seriously. Okay. So we're going to use this here, this bobber, this cork, or whatever you want to call it. This one's going to have a wildly different color than this guy over here. We'll put him like that. Okay, then we're going to go over to our used jig skirt container. I guess it's a colander. I'm sure you guys have your favorite used jig skirts. Jig or spinnerbait skirts. And we'll use this guy here. This is going to be the one that we're going to use. Okay. Many of you are reeling with how crazy it is that I have old jig skirts, but I reuse them, so no big deal. Okay, so now we've got our essential parts. We've got our skirt, we've got our cork, and we've got our Moss Boss. Stop, don't move. This guy keeps rolling away. We'll put him right here. Stop it. Okay. Phillips head screwdriver, number 2, of course. Unscrew this. This is another good reason to put the epoxy on there, because that screw can come on and break your heart when you first need it. There we go. So we're taking that off. We're going to remove this skirt. Now, I do love to save things. That's for sure. But this skirt is garbage. Even coming off. Just sitting in the garage down here in the heat has turned this thing into a slimy, disgusting mess. Looks like you need a hanky. So like I said, my hypocrisy for saving stuff goes only so far. We're going to take this snap off right here. We're going to replace it with a smaller one. Okay, so that's what we got left. So this right here, we're going to paint this. I'm going to paint it just silver to start with. And then maybe we'll get a little prettier shad pattern on it, because that's my favorite thing. I know I keep going heavy on the shad patterns, but hey, it's my lure, and that's how I want it. And it's my party, and I'll cry if I want to. Hey guys, we're back in the shop here, and we have our working on Steel Project Moss Boss, or Project Better Than a Frog, or Project what's the point, I guess. Okay, so just kidding. We're making a Moss Boss better, so that we can catch topwater fish in the weeds and not lose them to heartbreak of the infamous frog missed the bite. So we're back in the paint studio. We got our paints over here. We've got regular assistant with the paint gun, and I've got this thing up here on the trusty old vice grip, because the little paint stand is otherwise indisposed on another project right now. So we're just going to get started here, and this is going to be just kind of a basic shad pattern again, because that's what I wanted. We spray painted this with just rattle can silver, which is why it looks so awesome. And we're just going to try to dress it up a little bit and make it look a little more shaddy. All right, so just stand by. Okay, so I mix up my paint for these. This is a holographic powder, extra fine. I don't want to open it up because it is like moon dust, but it's a holographic powder. It actually adds a nice little shimmer to it, and you can shoot it through
the airbrush here like that. I don't know if you can see it down in there, but I've mixed it in with the different paint colors. So we're going to try it out here. See how far I hold this away from it? Now look at what I'm having to do with the airbrush to make it work here. This stuff is kind of a little thick for it. Run that out. And now we're just going to blow it off just there, just to kind of dry it, okay? So take that out in the sunlight and see how it looks out there. You can't really see the holographic sparkles in here, but when it's out in the sun, you'll see them a little bit more. So let's go look at that. Okay? The regular assistant is going to hold it nicely right there. I think we got it. I'll mix up the next color. I'll be right back. All right, so we're back. We have taped this up. My regular assistant can hold it right there. So we've taped it up, plus we put a scale pattern on it. I just want these blue scales right up top here. So we've mixed up a color here, and hopefully it'll look pleasant. And that's all we're going for. Here is the color. And a lot of little sparkle farkles in it, right?
Yes, sir.
That's me, or is nothing coming out? Nothing is coming out. We'll be right back, viewers, after a word from our sponsor. Okay, let's try this again. Faithful assistant had to go be the regular editor's faithful assistant, so. Yeah, I might have put too much sparkles in it there. Okay, let's take the masking off and show you guys the scales that we made. Hopefully that we made. Don't get too presumptuous. Good. Yeah, I put a little too much paint on those, but you know, still scaly. I got my chartreuse line and I got silver on this side, so I'm gonna put an eye on it and a dot, and then I'm gonna show you the rest of the process. But I think I'm happy with that paint job, and we're gonna quit while we're ahead. Okay, so our final pattern, we had it regular assistant dried it out in the sun, and now we are going to put on a big obnoxious red eye, because why not? Okay, put too much super glue on it. My regular assistant can hold this for me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, now hush falls over the crowd. The regular guy tries to use a pair of tweezers to stick on a used eye. Can he do it? Okay. Alright, there's our eye. Probably a little too big. Let's squish it down. There we go. Alright, we're going to make that work. And last but not least, what do we need to add to any shad pattern?
A black shad dot.
Black shad dot. The bass would not know what to do with it if we did not have said dot. Yeah, let's try to do this right before we make a huge, giant, enormous mess. There we go. A little dab will do, yeah? Okay. Right about there. Right as the air compressor kicks in. Perfect timing. Okay, here we go. There's our non-perfect shad dot. Kick over the super glue for no apparent reason. Okay, so we are done painting, and we are on to we're gonna clear coat this on the outside here, and then I'm gonna show you how we're gonna finish this side so that we make it floating. So pretty happy with how that came out. There are definitely painters that could do a lot better, and I'm not one of them. But the bass won't notice. At least I hope they won't notice. Maybe I should stop saying that until I actually show you guys myself catching some fish. I swear that's coming. The weather has been frightful, we'll say. The weather outside has been frightful, and by that I mean super hot. So we're going to use our friends JB and Weld 5-minute epoxy to get our clear coat. You guys ever watch The World's Worst Fishing? When he's mixing up like his soft plastics, he always adds like square black flake, right? When I do this, I always add, because it's complete opposite, I guess I just add this white, itsy bitsy white flake to it, just to make every clear coat that I make. Just like it made me think of that. Every soft plastic he makes, he's like, because you gotta have texture. I like just this little bit of fine sparkle in here. See through it, really doesn't mess with anything. Hope you can see that. And I have been adding the holographic one as well, a skosh sprinkle, I guess, as it were. This you can go too much. If you put too much of this stuff in the sauce, you're definitely going to notice. That will turn the whole thing, a dark gray or a darker gray, and it'll take away from your super duper painting job. I got a comment the other day asking me about where I got my injector, and I replied, if you search on the Big River website. So I was trying to be a little coy, I guess, trying to not say Amazon when I was talking about Amazon to sell you things on Amazon. I don't get a kickback from Amazon. I don't get a kickback from anybody because I'm just like a hobbyist here doing this for funsies. But I don't know if we're supposed to, talk about that website. I've heard other guys say like the Jungle website. So I said the Big River website because it's like a big river in Brazil and, northern part of South America there. So I guess maybe next time I'll just have to say Amazon. But anyway, the soft plastic injector I use is from Amazon. It's like $25. And if you just search soft plastic lure injector, you too can find one. Also, same website where I got these here, package of like 200 of these brushes. And they were cheaper than chip brushes. See a lot of people using chip brushes that I absolutely hate because the bristles are terrible and they fall out just at the wrong time all over your project. Yeah, they're just such terrible quality for this stuff for me. I just can't stand it. So these brushes were, again, I think it was $5 for like 200 of them. But that was a while ago. Things have changed, so the price may have gone up. We're going to slather a good coat of this clear coat all the way around. And that is that. We're going to let that guy dry. Kind of say dog. And we'll be back. We're back with Project Moss Boss. So our epoxy has mostly dried. And we're on to our next step called the interior, which is going to look somewhat like that. So again, I have a skirt that is glued in the middle and out to the sides, and I have a float or a cork or a bobber, whatever you want to call it, that is glued in the middle. This is the one I made for this. So I painted it red, white, and blue, so you could tell that this lure was made in America. But I just took it to the grinding wheel and ground down that side. I ground down the back, cut a little hole, sort of. You just basically, you want it to fit. It has to fit over this, like that. Ish-ness thing. There we go. Just like that. And the reason I shaved this down, I guess I should tip it this away. The reason I shaved this down is because without it, if we were like to say turn this little sausage around, you can see that that float is actually going to be blocking that hook. And that is no bueno, because again, we said this is a better hookup ratio than your squishy frog. Okay? So there it is, just like that. So we're going to have to glue that in there. And we're just going to throw it on the table like we didn't work on it really hard for quite a while now. I have the old used skirt that I was going to use. I have the other piece of it right here. Okay, I guess I'm going to tear it apart. So my idea was to hold it in the camera angle first. Glue it right about there. And then we'll put our lure on it. So I guess maybe we'll save this piece for another project. Let's not throw it out, okay? Definitely don't do that. But yeah, we will glue this down to there, and then we will glue this down to there. So I'm going to put a little spot of super glue on that dog. That's right, I'm back to dogs. Doing it again. Okay, and we're going to let that dry on there for a minute. I'm going to whip up some epoxy, and then we're going to put this on here. Okay? I'll do that again. Okay, so we got our friends JB Weld and our used plate. Of course, you got to add sparkles, because it doesn't work as well without sparkles. I'm going to go crazy on this one, guys. We're going to add, there you go. This is going on the top. It's not going to ruin the paint job until I ruin the paint job. But this is absolutely one of those steps that's for the fishermen and not for the fish. So you don't have to be disillusioned that somehow the fish are going to see the interior of your moss boss and the sparkles are going to help with that. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just enjoy it. Make the world sparkle, huh? Okay. I'm just trying to get this set the way I want. And I'm going to glue it down the rest of the way. I think I'm going to want it. Okay, it's kind of scooting around on me here. Anywhere it's touching the moss boss itself, I'm making sure that we put in epoxy so that it's getting glued down. And allegedly, in 5 minutes, that'll be rock solid. So we'll be back to show you that. Okay, regular viewers. So now we've reached the conclusion of our project. Let's see if it was all worth it. All the blood, sweat, and tears, right? Again, this was the original modified one that I had done. The popping cork, the popping cork here that I had cut down, skirt that I had glued to it, and adding this this trailer hook on here. And actually, it comes with a trailer hook on it, and the pattern I did with glitter. And if this is something you want to see me do, like show you how to glitter a lure or color it with different colors of glitter and patterns like that, let me know down in the comments, because I can do a video for that of that for you. If I could say it, but I can't. So here it is. Our Made in America Moss Boss. Here's that shad pattern paint job. The scales came out all right here. I did spray a little too much paint, a little too thick, but it's okay. I don't think the bass will notice. We got our nice chartreuse line, and then silver down here, silvery gold with the sparkles in it. One thing I did think was cool was the skirt that I had saved. See, saved the pieces. Actually matched the 3-color pattern. So darker, the nice chartreuse line, and then the white over here. One little gray guy did get stuck under there, like a gray hair. They just kind of pop up when you don't want them. And I got my trailer hook put on as well. And I have this nice heavy duty snap on the front as a tie-on point. I've crimped down, if you can see that, I've crimped down all these pieces. This thing will not come off of here without a lot of trouble. This big red eye, I was a little apprehensive about it at first. Thought maybe I messed the whole animal up by putting that huge eye on there. But after applying would be the word in American, the copious amount of 2-part epoxy, it encompassed it really well, and it really doesn't, there's no edges on it or anything like that. So I actually kind of like how it looked. This one had a stick-on eye. It really didn't stick out that much, or stick out from the rest of the background as well. And of course, we have the shad dot on there, as my son pointed out. So just in case the bass, weren't sure about to eat this lure or not, they would at least recognize that, right? Just kidding. That's a joke, guys. What I use for a keeper for my trailer hooks is my bits and bits of my children's jump rope, and it's slowly getting shorter, but very by a little bit. They're going to be like way out of jump ropes by the time they ever notice, so don't worry about that. But very happy with how it came out. I have got to take it fishing, and I've caught 0 bass on it that last time. But that doesn't mean they don't work. Trust me. That's just because I'm a terrible fisherman. So, but when I get more opportunities to go bring it out to my favorite weeded bass lake, I will show you what they can produce. All right. Again, thank you so much for the support. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask down there. I love that all the questions that I've gotten and comments and likes, subscribes, and all that other stuff. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.
Don't forget!
Hey, what are you kids doing?